Hello everyone. It is Friday, March the 25th, 2022. I am Dale Delbridge, Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. This is your status chat. Let's get straight to it. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the middle segment. Now, as you can see on the background we have here, this is one that we've had prepared. You'll see it in videos from way back when. You'll see we're part of United Real Estate. Now, normally I don't speak to United Real Estate. I talk about the local brokerage only because all markets are local. We're local. We're also all over the United States. Now, I want to bring something to your attention. Again, as I say, you see this United Real Estate, we're part of that. I can do referrals. You see my hashtag, Dale does referrals. I can do that, get them in, get them out. If you're moving away or if you're coming in, I can do that. But I want to show you something here, because a lot of people talk about their competitive advantage in this very, very tight market. I'm with you. I understand it. I have to deal with this every day. Between that and training, matter of fact, last week we had I think 3 different classes I went to. There were 5 this week. In the process, I'm dealing with contractors who have keep bumping it out. And for my own personal need, I have a little small project. Difficult to get someone to do small projects on very small remodels. They'll do brand new builds and many other things, and I can get a roofer. Those they're around there, but trying to coordinate these things, this is where it gets real difficult. And I finally had some contractors show up, and we worked one day, and now we're off into the first week in April before we get around to some more of it. So I'm dealing with that and codes and all kind of wonderful things. I deal with this myself. I know if you have to deal with it, it's better that you have someone who's not got your emotions invested in it, someone who can represent you with authority and without passion clouding the judgment. But again, one more time, United Real Estate, I want to show this to you because I normally crow about benchmark, because they're up there too, right? There we are, benchmark. So let's look at this right here. Nationwide, from Real Trends, nationwide, United Real Estate is the 8th largest company by size, by volume in the United States for real estate. So what does that mean to you? Well, it means a lot of times we're having such short inventory, and it's not going to get better, not in my opinion, for the next several years because we've underbuilt. I refer you to the past several status chats where I discussed this. Now, we look at this and we say, what does this mean, United Real Estate? Well, this is when you compare yourself in the nation, you need to be a player. Now, that's where we are. United Real Estate, 8 in the United States. This is last year, 2021. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to be 4 or 3 in the nation. Number 3 in the nation, perhaps. That's a goal. I'd like to see that happen. Now, what does this mean? Well, let's go ahead and cancel this one out. Let's look at the next trend. Well, reminding you from last year, look at this jump that we had, 34.9%. Now that is in excess of what the growth was. So we had 31% equity. We had increasing sales in the MSA, the Nashville area. But look who took on the charge. We went from $1.2 billion worth of sales, and that's just our part of it. And you saw what it was for, what was that, 14 trillion last year, I believe, for United. Anyway, we can go back and look at that if we need to. Let's go ahead and kill this one off because I want to keep this short today. We've got just a very, very busy day. Now, in case you didn't know, the conforming loans, if you need a jumbo, if you know what a jumbo is, it's just how big you can get under the FHA guidelines, which goes back to the FHFA, the government oversight of the GSEs, which is your Fannie Mae and your Freddie Mac, and they'll set this is how much you can borrow under the loan. Above that, they're called jumbos, and you have to pony up extra money to get that difference. It's a little bit different. And as you'll notice, here we have the Nashville MSA, and look what we have for that area. And this includes like my little neighboring county, Cannon County. So if you want to buy a $700,000 home in Cannon County, we can do that and fit it in under a jumbo. But there we see where we are. And most of the United States is in this gray area, which is the lower limit. Some of the hot markets, and you'll notice some of these will be familiar to you. They're just selling at very, very high prices. Now, keep in mind, though, we're yellow here because we are the third largest in-demand location in the United States for people to want to come to. That's where we sit. And because of that, that's having an upwards effect on pricing. Now, I talk in many times in these status chat about the politics of economics and the money supply. The guy who owns the company likes to talk about the M2 money supply because it's all in circulation. I like to look at the M1 money supply because it's the money, that's where your new money goes. When it goes into circulation, it's not bound to anything, so it goes in there. So it's just a little different way of looking at things. There's a lot of different ways to look at things, and looking at things, depending on how you process your information, can lead you to different conclusions. Let's talk about some different conclusions. Here we have Zillow. Now, I know people that will call me, my home is worth, because they got either fished or farmed, and they're getting a little number that's jumped out by algorithms. Now, I have that capability too. I can do both of those. I can look in the neighborhood and see who hasn't sold a house, who's lived in that house for, say, 5 or 7 years, and target them directly and send them something that makes them seem like they've caught my eye as part of a program. But when people try to do this stuff themselves, they're often using algorithms and forecasts and information, which are just somebody's opinion. And these tend to be national opinions, not local where you are, where I am, where you and I are together, but national news. And when you hear sometimes this news that, oh, we're headed for a crash, I don't believe it's going to happen in Middle Tennessee. I do think we might see a little bit of trending off on prices, perhaps, but I'm talking about not even flattening the curve. I think we're just going to kind of, maybe instead of going straight up, we're going to level out just a little bit, go more to the angle, but it's still going to be something interesting to watch. Now, we look at this and we see December's forecast. Look at December. Oh, we're going to be way up here. The prices are going to be high. And what did we see at the turn of the year? So many of these deep blue markets took a very sudden drop off. If you remember a couple weeks back, I looked at kind of the Research Triangle Park area up top in North Carolina around Raleigh, Wake, I think it was county, and they actually had a 43% drop off in transactions between December and January. Well, here we saw a lot of that in those areas. Look at the drop off that they hit. Big. And a lot of that national data is skewing this. And if you're not working with me, you need to be working with me because I keep up with the local and the national. And I don't hide away from a lot of that. But now look, we're back up in February. They're going, oh my gosh, it's not as pessimistic as we thought. So you need someone who can help keep you calm, keep you going, keep you on target, and keep driving your armor-clad SUV into prosperity. You remember seeing this? I've used this 2 status chats in a row. Do you see how we're not doing much other than being cyclical with the weather? Look, here we are at the Januaries. This one was a little bit down over the previous year, but then we came back up a little higher and made up for it over here. And it's the same thing. We're very, very periodic because we're number 3 in the nation for a destination to come to. So we're looking good. You see a lot of this, oh, we're going to crash. Perhaps some of those very hard hit cities might crash or drop down a little bit, but even there, it's going to be hard for me to believe they're going to do that without the fiscal policy that laid the groundwork for 2008. Now, we've cleared away that. It's not going to happen. Not for that reason. It may happen for some other reason, but it won't happen for those original reasons in 2008. So when you look at 2008 through 2010, just not going to happen that way again. Maybe something new, but looking at our data, it doesn't look like our pattern in the Middle Tennessee MLS area is going to change.
Hello, I'm Dale Delbridge of Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. If you are currently unrepresented and would like to know how to compare up to 3 properties side by side and room by room, then go over to my new YouTube channel call Dell to sell. That's one L in Dell, no spaces. Watch the demo on Real Scout and then call me and we'll set up your exclusive ad-free account today.
Well, now we got that done. What did we learn? Well, I don't normally mention it a lot because Benchmark is the leader in the Middle Tennessee statistical area, the Middle Tennessee area, the Metropolitan Statistical Area. That's what the MSA stands for. The Greater Nashville Market, although it doesn't count all of the counties that the MLS carries. It's just the big part. We're number one there. Well, you may not have known that we are actually number 8 in the nation when we are combined with another of our affiliated companies, United Real Estate, and that allows me to do the Dell Does Referral. You've seen that hashtag Dell Does Referrals because we can refer people in or out, so it can make that transitioning. If you're moving from one place to another, it can make that a lot easier. So do that. Now let's look at last week's numbers. 3/18/22. We had 75 opportunities in the Real Scout system. That was up over the previous period. We had 4139 in the under contract still showing. That was up in the previous period. But the integer ratio between those didn't change at 55%. Now this week, 3/25/22. We had 7815 in the opportunities in the Real Scout system. That actually went up a little bit. And then we had 4185 in the under contracts still showing. That also went up. But what's interesting is the integer ratio between those two went down 54 to 54%. So we're beginning to see that spring fling. We're starting to see that activity. We're see people coming out to do things. So you know what you need to do. You need to call Dell to sell. Call the best. Call number 1 in the MSA, Benchmark Realty. And remember, we're number 8 in the nation. I hope we're going to hit number 4. I would like to see us hit number 3 in the nation as the 3rd largest, because if we get number 3, we're going for number 1. And we appreciate you watching. Have a good weekend. Have a good, safe weekend. Thank you.